Well, you join me on one of my midweek evening prep sessions. The World Pairs in Ireland is only about 7 or 8 weeks away, so I've actually started to do some of my preparation now. One thing I hate doing is when I'm away on festivals and stuff is preparing while I'm there, tying up lengths every evening and that sort of thing. I hate doing all that, especially when you've had so much advance notice that you're actually going to be there. So I'm starting my prep now, working all week, fishing at the weekends. It doesn't leave much time, it soon goes quickly. So whilst I'm here, going through some of my kit for what I might need in Ireland in September, I just thought I'd take you through a little journey of what we've been up to through June. It was a month where you kind of think, where's that gone, sort of thing. But when you take a look back at, what you actually got up to through the last 4 weeks, it's quite amazing what we can actually get achieved. So here's a quick rundown of what happened through June. Well, June was a time that I kind of set aside a little bit of, a few sessions where I could actually get out on the bank and do some filming for my own YouTube channel and my membership channel as well. And, it was great just to get on the bank and film some proper sessions. It all kicked off at the fantastic Sherwood Forest fishery, which is only about 35 miles away from where I live, and it's a fishery that I spent a bit of time on a few years ago when I first got back into match fishing, about 2010, 2011, when I got back into my fishing. Spent a bit of time there, and here's a bit of footage that I kind of managed to get the pole out and do some pole fishing. I also got on there with the method feeder as well, but here's a quick snapshot of what those sessions were like. Well, I've had a bit of cancellation for some work stuff, so that's meant I've been able to pinch a few hours with Dad. Come along to the beautiful Sherwood Forest fishery. It's not far from where I live. I haven't been here for years. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to be doing some pole fishing today. There's loads of silver fishing here. I think there's loads of skimmers in here. There are some carp in here as well. I don't know about tench, and I assume there's lots of roach as well. So I'm going to have to change this rig. It's obviously warm, the fish are already up in the water. Now got a few fish boiling for those casters now. I'll be putting them in. They're only small fish. Well, there you go, you can see them boiling there. They're obviously small fish, but it just shows that they are up in the water. So I'm going to change this rig. Little fish, but because obviously you're about an inch off bottom, any slight indication of them just touching the bait, you're going to see it. Lovely little skimmer, a bit darker in colour that one. I almost dropped that one. I missed a bite. I think it was a liner. Just laid the rig back in again and took it about 2 feet down. It's a rudd, I think, this one. Yeah, nice little golden rudd. Beautiful. Great when you're fishing baits like this and this sort of way, because it's just catch anything sort of fishing. great to get the pole out again and do some silverfish fishing. Up until, you know, recently, I only really fish with the pole 1 week out of the year, and that is September in the World Pairs, and obviously that's in Ireland and it's all natural water fishing, and it's a completely different ball game from a lot of the fishing that we do over here in England. So it was nice to get out. I caught plenty of fish. It was really nice to do it on a session like that where I could film the day and just kind of talk you through my rigs and all that sort of thing. It was really, really refreshing, and it was interesting how, you know, you realise how rusty you are in certain areas, but it was nice to film the session because every session is different, and throughout the duration of, you know, the few hours that I spent on the bank there on that wonderful lake, it kind of, there were little things highlighted, you know, certain ways our feeding was working, other ways that I was feeding wasn't working, and it just kind of drilled home once again that, you know, we get immersed in our feeder fishing, trying to get presentation right and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, the biggest advantage some of the top anglers have got is that they're very good at figuring out how fish feed. And so regardless of the discipline, whether it's pole fishing, waggler fishing, any sort of float fishing or feeder fishing, at the end of the day it boils down to feeding, you know, and obviously application. And it was great just to kind of, having not fished with a pole for a year, just kind of have to work it out again, just like we do in feeder fishing, where you're figuring out, you know, the best way of feeding, what bait is attracting what species, what's the best way of presenting a bait for those species, how quick can you catch them, and all that sort of thing, trying to sort out the better fish. So that was a wonderful session. Anybody interested in that, you know, that particular video, there are two actually from that particular session over on my YouTube channel, on the Catch Fishing channel, so if you want to have a look at those, please feel free to go and have a look at those. And I also returned there a week later where I had a fantastic workout with the method feeder. The lake there is only about 30 metres wide or so, and then all day long when I was pole fishing I was looking across to the other bank thinking I wish I brought my feeder gear so I could just drop a feeder under that other bank. Well, I managed to get there a week later with Dad, of course. The sun was shining and I managed to catch a few fish on the method feeder. Well, the last two videos that I've uploaded have been live match videos, one from Holcroft and one from Boston. Those videos are live now, so if you haven't seen those, go and check them out. The one common theme through both those videos was the fact that I was fishing with the method feeder, and the last few days I've had so many questions about, you know, why it can be such a great method on its day. I've brought you along here to a fishery that's not far from where I live, and it's an ideal situation, it's an ideal venue where I can go through the different types of method feeders that I use and why I pick each one for each scenario. Once again, that was a brilliant session, really enjoyed it. It's just nice to take a bit of a break away from match fishing where obviously you're trying to catch the absolute maximum potential out of your swim. It was nice to take a step back from that and just kind of take a little bit of time out to film the day as well, show the viewers kind of what I was doing, the kind of rig I was using and why I was doing the things I was doing, and the little things that I spotted along the day, along the way as well, because I had to make one or two tweaks during that session to get the most out of the swim. And having made some of those tweaks and some of those changes, it was really nice to figure out how to catch a few fish, and it was nice to get a few hard fighting carp for the cameras. So, but like I say, at the end of the day, it was a few hours away with Dad. I managed to produce a video, which again is on my YouTube channel if you want to take a look at that. In wonderful surroundings, the weather was beautiful, and I obviously got the chance to spend the day with Dad as well, who caught loads of fish as well, so he thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm so lucky to be able to have days that are so productive like that, but obviously spend them on the bank with Dad as well. June was also the start of a new series on this channel, the A2Z Feeder Fishing. Now, I'm not sure who came up with that idea. I'm assuming it was Craig Butterfield, but cracking idea, Craig, because what happens was, as soon as you start thinking through the alphabet as regards which letter relates to which aspect of feeder fishing, it certainly opened up certain avenues, and you realise that you've suddenly got loads of content there and loads of avenues to pursue just going off by the letter of something to do with feeder fishing. It was great, and we're still filming it. There are quite a few videos already done. I think we've done letters A through to, I'm not sure what, we're about the middle of the alphabet now, so that is on this channel, so please take a look at that. It's quite interesting actually. We filmed the first one at Southfield Reservoir. When we got there, it was just white over. You couldn't see the forebank. I've never seen Southfield like that. It was so foggy. I actually got there about an hour and a half early before we were due to shoot, so I could get there and get some footage for my own videos. And I sent the drone up, and you couldn't see anything. It was just complete whiteness. But some of the photographs look quite surreal with that background. So I also did some filming that day. A lot of the days when I'm out now, to utilise my time better, I'm filming just like Craig is filming as well. So I'm kind of filming our day, and he's filming obviously the video that we're there to film. So that keeps a story for my vlog as well. So I've got some footage as well, which, you know, it's just maximising the time that we're on the bank. So it was nice to kick off that new series. So if you haven't seen it yet, then on this channel it's called the A to Z of Feeder Fishing. So we haven't completed the full alphabet yet, but we're certainly working our way through it, so you might want to go and check those videos out. I was also fortunate enough, because I'd set a little bit of time aside to conduct 4 coaching sessions. Absolutely love the sessions. I'm really enjoying them at the moment, because the lads that are booking the days with myself, I go to different venues all over the country, and you know, it's just the enthusiasm that I love. You know, it reminds me exactly of myself the first time I had a session with Dean Barlow years and years ago, when I first got into my fishing, 2010, 11, whatever it was. You know, you rock up there and you're so keen and eager. You know, you've actually taken time out of your life to book a day with whoever it is you book your day with, and yeah, you're just there to get the most from it. And I just love the enthusiasm, and obviously the session is a session in its own right as well. So whilst you're talking, you might be talking through the setup of a way of fishing, or a rig, or a style of fishing, or a certain discipline of feeder fishing. Obviously when you get fishing, you're both in the same boat, because you're both, whilst you're fishing that particular method in a certain way, you're obviously trying to figure that particular session out as well. You know, it's alright saying do this, do that, but if the tip's not going round and they're not catching fish, you want to do your very best to try and figure that out, so that they're going to get some bites and catch some fish. So it's going to kind of complete the day and prove that what you're doing actually works. So you're forever learning as well. So really enjoyed those sessions. If any of those lads are watching now, thank you very much for the bookings. I've got loads more booked in, and you know, I'm getting requests all the time, which is really, really nice. I'm really enjoying it. Lots of different venues, and I'm getting to see some new venues as well, and it's a great opportunity for a lot of the lads that I'm out with to see this kit that I'm using, you know, because some of this kit, you might live in certain areas of the country where you can't see this kit, and on the sessions that I do, I always take my kit with me. So it's been great to give those lads the opportunity to have a cast with my rods and all that sort of stuff. So they're really, really nice days. So if any of you lads are watching, thanks again for the bookings. Really, really enjoyed it. On to the match fishing for June. Looking back to June, I thought I'd hardly fished anything, but look, I had a couple of major competitions. The first one was the fantastic, now annual, well, I hope it's annual, I'm assuming it's going to be every year now. This was its 2nd year. It was the Matrix British Feeder Championships, once again at Boston Lakes. I filmed the whole day as a live match video for my channel, so that's there if you want to go and have a look at that. That is the full video of the whole day. But for you now, here is just some of the footage to give you a feel for what the day was like. Well, as you can see, the conditions have taken a turn for the worst. This was forecast. Well, as you can see, the conditions weren't very favourable, you know, it was a little bit relentless on that day, but looking back it was a really enjoyable day. By the time we all got back into the clubhouse, we'd all forgotten about what the weather was like, but it was one of those matches where I was kind of relying on quite a bit of information on the bank. I'd never felt as though I'd drawn a match-winning peg or a match-winning area, and as it turned out, you know, it did look that way afterwards as well. But having said that, you make certain decisions during the match, and if you've seen the video you will know, or if you watch the video you'll get a feel for it. I made the decision halfway through the match, because it was fishing so hard and so difficult there, and we kind of felt that no one there could win the match, so I've kind of gone down a route of just trying to frame and trying to win the section, and I was just kind of doing that based on the information that I got from the bank, and it wasn't quite accurate, the information I'd got. But nonetheless, I ended up with, you know, a nice net of fish anyway. I caught a few fish, a few bream, and there weren't any carp caught in that area. They were down to my left. So, you know, I had a decent day. I beat all the anglers to my right in the section, but there were one or two better weights to my left. But having said that, you know, it certainly wasn't a greater number of fish. It just seemed as though there were one or two carp caught down at that end. But had I fished for them all day, I might have caught one or two as well. So you make your decisions based on the information that you've got, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Got to say a huge thank you to Matrix once again for sponsoring that event, and having spoken to the lads before that day, you know, after last year's event and certainly after this year's event, I know they're all very, very keen to be competing in that again. So I hope the lads that want to be there next year have qualified again for next year. And yeah, it'll be great to see that event become an annual event, you know, and some of the biggest names in angling were there as well, so what more could we ask for? June was also the first ever session of a group coaching series that I've managed to put together. Nearly 2 years ago, I actually got approached by a couple of people who said it would be really, really nice if I could put together some sort of a group coaching session where I share the day with a top angler. They named the angler at the time, and it just, because it was nearly 2 years ago, things were very different back then as regards time and scheduling and availability, and we just weren't able to do it. However, I managed to find one or two dates now to conduct these sessions. The sessions are with myself and new England feeder team manager Dean Barlow. I mentioned Dean a hell of a lot because he was so influential in the early days of my feeder fishing, and people have seen that, you know, I went to him for help and to speed up my development as a feeder angler, and they've obviously seen the progress since then. And now it's great that obviously myself and Dean have stayed good friends, and when we were first approached to do these sessions, it was just about the same time when he was appointed new England feeder team manager, so obviously his time was suddenly taken up with that. He was heading off to South Africa for the World Feeder Championships, you know, for the first time as a manager, and so he had masses on his plate, and he was obviously always going to give that 100%. So we pursued one or two dates, and the anglers that had asked us to arrange it, and we managed to get a day in, and that was our first day this month. It was at Lawford Lakes. We had a group of 10 anglers there. We were over on Spessy Lake, and it was a really enjoyable day. What we actually did was we all got there met there around 8:30, and we all went over. We had about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just kind of talking through the kit, talking through the approach to a venue like that, especially when you're targeting skimmers and carp later on. And it was just kind of in a nutshell kind of session about the watercraft of tackling those kinds of commercial waters where, you know, you might target carp early on, and then the middle part of the match might be harder where you're tackling bream and skimmers obviously, and then when you're tackling carp later on, shorter, you know, closer in down the margins and on the short lines. It was a really nice day, and all the lads that attended really enjoyed it, you know, and some of them have already booked on future sessions as well. So that was the first of a few sessions we got booked in, but we're not going to keep it there. The sessions, we have got another one at Larford Lakes, but we're going to run we've already organised a winter edition of that, because obviously winter fishing on commercials like that is very different, and I've spent quite a lot of time at Larford during the winter months and had some good success there as well. So we're pretty sure, I think that session might already be almost full anyway, but we're also going to do one on a river as well, possibly the River Trent and possibly the River Thames as well, because Dean's got an incredible knowledge of fishing on rivers like that, certainly the Trent anyway. I mean, that's where he grew up, on the banks of the River Trent. So it was just really nice to do that as a group session, and obviously do it, you know, alongside Dean as well. You know, it was kind of a bit of a completion kind of thing from the first time I ever went out with him, to kind of being stood next to him doing something like that. And all the lads have gone on to book other sessions, so I know they've all gone away happy, which is fantastic. So thanks to all the lads that attended on that, and if anyone's interested in those future sessions, then just please add me on Facebook or email me or send me a message in some form, and I can keep you in the loop with all future dates. So yeah, it was just a really nice session that, because it's just kind of going through a lot of the basics and rethinking a lot of the watercraft decisions that we make during matches. I also managed to get a golden Feeder Masters ticket in June as well. Somebody kindly offered me a ticket and I bit his hand off for it. It was at Hallcroft Fishery. For those that are familiar with my YouTube channel, that video has been live on that channel for a few weeks now, well, since that match basically, and I know a lot of you watched it. It's been very well received actually. 24,000 views I think it's had. And so obviously that's there. If anyone wants to check the full video out of that day, then please go over to my channel and check that out. That is there. But for those of you that haven't got the time to do that and haven't seen it, here are a few snippets for the day, just to give you a feel for how it went. I've been incredibly fortunate that somebody's kindly offered me a Feeder Masters ticket, and that's where I am today. I'm at the Hallcroft Fishery, which is not far from where I live. It's near Retford, and I'm here to try and qualify for this year's £12,000 Feeder Masters final. Well, looking back on that match, it was one where, you know, even going into the last 2 hours, you just kind of think, what am I doing here, you know? And you can't help but think that venues like that you know have got so many fish in them, and everybody is just sat there without a bite. You just cannot catch. You know, you're thinking, are there any fish in here? But it's one of those days where it was bright sunshine, flat calm, and you know they're there because they're cruising around in front of you. Unfortunately, that is just the downside of having feeder competitions when the weather is like that. You know, the fish are cruising around on the top, and obviously we're fishing on the bottom, and it can really test you as a feeder angler, and it can certainly test your mentality as well at times. But it turned out into a decent result in the end. I was never going to win the zone. Eddie Bryden did brilliant. It was right down to my right on the end peg, and you know, you've got to go in these events. You've got to go in these events to give yourself a chance of drawing a peg that's going to give you a chance of qualifying. You've got to win 20 pegs in that competition, a 20 peg zone, and on some venues 20 pegs can cover a lot of ground, you know, but certainly if the pegging is spaced out as well, and obviously all that ground that's covered there can be pockets of fish, there can be pegs that are completely different from each other. So that's why, you know, to win an event like that or try and get in a final of that nature, you've got to just give yourself a few chances, because you're not always going to draw a peg that's going to give you a chance to, you know, to win the 20 pegs. And looking back on that particular match, I never, you know, I couldn't imagine a way that I was going to catch the weight that I would need to win that zone. But as it turned out, I ended up second in the section, just £4 behind Neil McKinnon, who won the section. So, you know, maybe I didn't do too bad, or fished it all right, fished it well enough in that, you know, section. But you know, that's all you can do. You make decisions on the day, and it was nice to catch one or two fish there, fishing that way. You know, casting a method feeder right underneath the platform on the other bank, it's not something I do very often, you know, and I really enjoyed it. When the tip finally went round, I enjoyed it anyway. But no, it was just great to be part of such an exciting event, and you know, you've got to be in it to win it, and hopefully I'm going to get one or two more tickets later on this year, so I can have another crack at trying to get in that final. And the last session of the month was a day that I put to one side. Again, it was a session video, and it was one on the fantastic River Trent. It's not often I get a chance to fish rivers these days, so I managed to steal a few hours away with Dad. I took Dad along as well, and it turned into a lovely sunny day. Obviously not ideal fishing conditions, obviously, but the days that I spend with Dad like that, and when I'm out filming, it's not as important, to be fair, you know. Obviously it's great for filming in, and I wanted to just get a video produced, and obviously if you can catch a few fish as well, then obviously that's an added bonus. So that video is, once again, it's also live over on my YouTube channel, so anybody obviously feel free to jump over and go and have a look at that. But those of you that aren't able to do that or haven't got time to do that, here is a snippet from that video to give you a taster for how the session went. It was just great to be on the river, and it was nice in the sense it wasn't a match, because I could just take my time, film the day for you, go and have a chat to Dad, you know, and just kind of, it was a nice relaxing day, and it was nice to get a video out of it. And it was also nice to work a few things out, you know. I was getting loads of bites that day, and I had to make a few tweaks, a few changes to try and hit the bites, and I got the opportunity to try a few things out as well that I don't normally get a chance to do in matches. So I have got a match coming up on the Trent in, I don't know how many weeks, 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks time. It's a Feeder Masters qualifier. I've managed to get a ticket for it, and there were one or two things I wanted to try on that session in readiness for that, and you know, it kind of, you know, put one or two ideas to bed for me to do that. So it's great to go out and try a few things out, because that's what we need to do, try and fine tune our techniques. It was great once again to film the day and get another video out of it, and it was great to spend a few hours with Dad as well and just be back on the River Trent. So looking back on June, it was, you know, a very fortunate month. There are so many things in there that I know a lot of people would give their right arm to go and do at all, never mind do all that in 1 month. But when you're looking back and you think you haven't got much done in 4 weeks, you look back and you think, yeah, things are really coming together and building really nicely. But that was June. Not many matches to report, only a couple of matches for you, but I do have some matches coming up next month, so if that's what you're interested in, obviously head over to my Catch Fishing channel. All my live matches are on there, but obviously I will report on them in this monthly diary for you at the end of next month. And I just want to say a huge thank you. My membership channel, Patron TV, that I know a lot of people have joined, has now gone over the 100 patron membership number. So I've got to say a massive thank you to everyone who's signed up to that, you know, and keep renewing every month. You know, you do only have to sign up for a month to try it, you know, but you can renew every month if you wish. And I've got to say a massive thank you, because that's the channel that's helping me kind of spend a little bit more time on the bank, so that I can produce more videos for you, and just share my experiences with you through videos on YouTube as well as the Patron TV channel as well. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who signed up for that, and hopefully you're all picking up a few hints and tips about some of the behind the scenes kind of stuff that I get up to in preparation for a lot of my matches, and how I beat myself up after the matches as well if I've got it wrong. So thanks to everyone for joining that. To have 100 membership now on that, it's a massive milestone, so thank you very much. Well, I've got quite a lot more prep to do. Like I say, I will be filming the World Pairs for you when we head over there in the first week of September, so I will be hopefully giving you first-hand experience of what that competition is like, because I know a lot of you aren't as fortunate as I am to be able to go over there and compete in that sort of event. So I will do my very best to share the experiences with you. But that's September. What I will be doing is bringing you another video diary at the end of July to tell you and show you what I've been up to through July. Looking at the diary, it's already a busy month. I've got some matches in there. I've got some what I think is exciting news for you, which I've been working on as regards my full-time job, and being able to free up a little bit more time to get on the bank and do more filming for you, and for Matrix as well. I've got Feeder Masters, at least one Feeder Masters qualifier, I might have two, so I'll be able to give you footage of how it went in that. And I'm also out with Craig Budsfield filming for Matrix, doing some feature footage for you as well. I'm finishing off the A2Z of Feeder Fishing, which if you haven't seen, go and have a look at that. That is on this channel. So thank you for watching, thank you for checking in. I hope you appreciate me just kind of letting you know what I've been up to, even if you haven't seen or heard much from me. I have been out there being very busy for you, and I hope to see you all at the end of July. So I hope you all have a fantastic month, and I hope to bump into some of you on the bank. And like I say, if I can help with anything about, you know, anything to do with the kit, the coaching sessions, any of the tackle that I use, the matches that I'm fishing, please either comment below here, and if I do miss it on here, then please just email me, and I'll do my very best to help you out. So hope you all have a fantastic week, and I'll see you all at the end of July.